The Sunday school lesson for March 24th, 2024 is the Crucifixion of Jesus, Luke chapter 23, verses 33 through 49. Welcome, viewers and subscribers, to my channel, The Backstory and More. I am Audrey. If you are interested in knowing what comes before each Sunday school lesson, you are at the right place. Let me say thank you to those of you who have shared my video with others. To those who have not subscribed yet, please do so. I will share the backstory, read the lesson text, and offer a brief lesson summary. The backstory takes us to Luke chapter 23, verses 26 through 32, the crucifixion of Jesus. As the soldiers led him away, they seized Simon from Cyrene, who was on his way in from the country, and put the cross on him and made him carry it behind Jesus. A large number of people followed him, including women who mourned and wailed for him. Jesus turned and said to them, "Daughters of Jerusalem, do not weep for me. Weep for yourselves and for your children. For the time will come when you will say, 'Blessed are the childless women, the wombs that never bore, and the breasts that never nursed.' Then they will say to the mountains, 'Fall on us,' and to the hills, 'Cover us.' For if people do these things when the tree is green, what will happen when it is dry?" Two other men, both criminals, were also led out with him to be executed. The backstory ends and the lesson begins. Verses 33 through 34. And when they were come to the place which is called Calvary, there they crucified him, and the malefactors, one on the right hand and the other on the left. Then said Jesus, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." And they parted his raiment and cast lots. Verses 35 through 37. And the people stood beholding, and the rulers also with them derided him, saying, "He saved others, let him save himself, if he be Christ, the chosen of God." And the soldiers also mocked him, coming to him and offering him vinegar, and saying, "If thou be the King of the Jews, save thyself." Verses 38 through 39. And a superscription also was written over him in letters of Greek and Latin and Hebrew, "This is the King of the Jews." And one of the malefactors which were hanged railed on him, saying, "If thou be Christ, save thyself and us." Verses 40 through 41. But the other answering rebuked him, saying, "Dost not thou fear God, seeing thou art in the same condemnation? And we indeed justly, for we receive the due reward of our deeds. But this man hath done nothing amiss." Verses 42 through 44. And he said unto Jesus, "Lord, remember me when thou comest into thy kingdom." And Jesus said unto him, "Verily I say unto thee, today shalt thou be with me in paradise." And it was about the 6th hour, and there was a darkness over all the earth until the 9th hour. Verses 45 through 47. And the sun was darkened, and the veil of the temple was rent in the midst. And when Jesus had cried with a loud voice, he said, "Father, into thy hands I commend my spirit." And having said thus, he gave up the ghost. Now, when the centurion saw what was done, he glorified God, saying, Certainly, this was a righteous man. Verses 48 through 49. And all the people that came together to that sight, beholding the things which were done, smote their breasts and returned. And all his acquaintance and the women that followed him from Galilee stood afar off, beholding these things. A brief summary. The weight of the cross became more than Jesus could bear. Thus, a certain Simon from the province of Cyrene was compelled to carry the cross. The word describing criminals crucified with Jesus refers to those who stole with force or violence. This fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, who said that God's suffering servant would be numbered with the transgressors. Isaiah chapter 53, verse 12. Jesus was literally placed right alongside criminals. The rulers even sneered at him, arguing that if Jesus were really the chosen one, God would certainly save his son. Therefore, God's forsaken Jesus on the cross proved that his claims about himself were false. Even one of the criminals, also being crucified, joined in the mockery. The other, however, chided his fellow prisoner. This criminal recognized that an innocent man was being killed unjustly. This same criminal then turned to Jesus and exhibited the first recorded expression of confidence in the power of Christ over death. Until the resurrected Jesus showed himself to the disciples, they failed to see how his death could be anything but the end of the kingdom he had been proclaiming. But with great faith, this humble criminal somehow saw Jesus' death as the doorway to the kingdom. The events occurring at that time helped silence the ridicule. Darkness fell from noon until 3 in the afternoon, the time when the sun should have been the brightest. The curtain separating the two inner sections of the temple was torn in two, showing that the sacrifice of Jesus opened access to God. It was as if God himself were replying to the insults. After Jesus died, the crowd dispersed rather quickly. These events surrounding Jesus' death were not lost on at least one Roman soldier who recognized him for who he was. Besides the soldiers in charge of the crucifixion, many women who were followers of Jesus stood at a distance. Thank you so very much for listening. Join me soon for the next backstory and more. Stay safe and may God bless.